All right, guys, how's it going? This is Willie D1, and I'm going to do a little teach tape for you guys on inside zone and kind of show you all the different ways that Clemson uses that in their offense. So the first thing I wanted to do is kind of introduce myself. For one, I'm an offensive coordinator at the high school level in the low country. I'd rather not say what school I'm at simply because I'm a homer and I would like to continue to be a homer. And sometimes being a homer as a college football fan and a Clemson fan can possibly interfere with my professional life. So that's why I won't tell you guys what school I'm at. But I'm sure you guys can understand. I know Anna does with all of her contacts that she has to have in the high school community and that sort of thing. All right. So anyway, a little bit of background on the play. Inside zone really started to get big I think it was in the 1990s. There's a really well-known offensive line coach named Alex Gibbs who kind of, he bounced around. He's a college offense coordinator for a long time and was in the NFL for quite a long time and was like the godfather of the inside zone play, and his sister played outside zone. And there's no guy on planet Earth that knows more about the play than him. But the way they did it was they would get under center in the old traditional I formation, okay? And they weren't reading it. It wasn't any kind of option sort of thing. They're giving the ball to the back, and that's that. Okay, so the zone read that we think of today really actually has its roots to some extent with Clemson. So Rich Rodriguez was our offense coordinator under Tommy Bowden in, I think it was 2000, and they both came from Tulane in 1999. So in 99, Tulane had a quarterback. I believe his name was Sean Hill. But forgive me if I'm wrong. That was a long time ago when I was a kid. Okay. And then obviously they have Woodrow Dantzler at Clemson, who both of them were fantastic runners and set all kind of records. And this was kind of the time period that people are just now starting to figure out that quarterbacks don't have to be statues. They can run too. Okay. And people have always played this disadvantaged numbers game where if we're just going to have the quarterback hand the ball off, he's essentially not part of the play. We're playing 10 on offense versus 11 on defense. So what Rich Rod kind of figured out at Clemson was and Tulane as well, why don't we use the quarterback in the running game? And we can use the tailback as an extra blocker, and now we're playing an 11-on-11 football. And nobody really, had seen this stuff before. And then he started experimenting with tempo. So I don't think Rich Rodriguez ever ran inside zone at Clemson. There's not a lot of tape out there, but he definitely got some of the ideas here. And then he took it to West Virginia, where all of a sudden they're running it extremely well with Pat White, and they're putting up video game numbers, and Chip Kelly, bars that concept. And all of a sudden inside zone, is more than just this NFL, I formation play. And now all of a sudden you've got this explosive new way to do it that puts defenses in all kinds of a bind. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of talk you guys through the base play. And so I'm sure you guys hear inside zone and zone blocking and all this stuff on TV all the time. So let me show you what it is. I'll show you a base clip of the Buffalo Bills running it, and then I'll jump into Clemson. Okay. So in essence, each offensive lineman is responsible for a zone, thus inside zone. Easy, right? Took a football coach to tell you that. Essentially what they're doing is they're not necessarily responsible for a man, okay? Just like zone coverage, where a defender is responsible for the area of the field, okay? Each offensive lineman is responsible for a zone, okay? So no matter what, they are stepping to that zone. Whatever shows there, he takes, okay? If nothing shows in his zone, he's going to work a double team. Okay, so in this case, let's just say, for argument's sake, this defensive end goes C gap. The tackle's going to zone to him. He's got it. Okay, but now our right guard zones to his B gap and there's nothing there, he's going to work back on a double team with the center. This is how I teach it. Okay. So now we've got a double team with the center and the guard on this two technique defensive tackle I got here. Okay. They're going to stay on their double team. But remember, this player is technically in the center zone, right? So the center's what we call he's a driver. He's responsible for this. His right guard buddies is helping. Okay. The right guard is going to eye this will linebacker. Okay. And if the backer just kind of stays back here and is flat footed, doesn't do anything, he's going to stay on that double team as long as he can. But the second, I'm sorry about the sneeze. All right. The second this will linebacker threatens the guard, dang it. My bad, guys. Hey, listen, I'm a football coach. I'm going to cuss and sneeze and, spit and all that stuff. Just deal with it. I ain't got the Rona, and you ain't catching it from this video. But the second he sees this will linebacker threaten his zone, he's going to come off the double team and pick him up. Okay? So we can stay on this double team and block it. Preferably, we'd want to block this tackle all the way back into the will backer here. Okay, but if he comes, he threatens, bam, we're on him. Okay, same thing's going on over here. The left guard zones, there's nothing threatening his gap. He can work backside. They can work a double team here to the mic. Okay, so we can get, sometimes you only get one double team. Sometimes, like in this case I've got drawn here, you can get two. Right? So what we've done is we've essentially created doubles, so we should be able to get movement on the front line. And remember, movement isn't necessarily we got to move them back. We just got to make them go to the right, because this is inside zone on the right. If we make them move to the right, we're good. Okay. Now, we are not blocking in your regular inside zone read. We are not blocking the backside defensive end. Okay. And if it's an odd front, this could be a walk-up linebacker as well. And I've got some odd front clips here I'll show you. Okay. We're not blocking him, at least not with a body. The quarterback is actually blocking this cat with his eyes. Okay. So he's just simply going to read him and see where he goes. Okay. So at the end, comes downhill and chases the back, the quarterback will simply pull it and replace him. Easy enough, right? If the end is flat-footed or goes upfield, so whether he just kind of sits here and slow plays it or if he goes upfield, it doesn't matter. The quarterback will give the ball to the back. Okay? Now, inside zone is not like your typical gap scheme play like counter and power and all that stuff, where the back has a very specific hole to go through. He actually can be patient. This ball could go a number of areas. Okay, so this isn't one of those plays where you give it the back and he slams it downhill. Okay, I will say that inside zone is a cutback play. So most of the time it actually winds up cutting backside. Okay, so I teach my backs, and I'm sure Tony Elliott's teaching ETN, all these cats the same. Okay, is you start, your aiming point is front side A gap. Okay, some people have it as tight as the center's butt crack, but I always teach front side A. I find if we go center, they cut back too fast. So that's just me. Okay, so they read front side A. Okay, if there's no space here, they're going to stick their foot in the ground and cut it to backside A. Nothing there, they can bounce it to backside B or out the back gate. Remember, if we're reading this in, he's going to take himself out of the play anyway. So there should be plenty of space to cut behind him here. One thing that ticks me off with my backs is if they try to bounce play side. Okay, there's almost never anywhere to go. Everything winds up happening. It cuts back almost all the time. Now, these backs here, I want them slow. Okay, take your time. I want this mesh with the quarterback to take its time. We got to make this guy make a decision. If it happens fast, he could guess right. I want to force him to not be able to just sit there, and react. I want him to have to make up his mind. So if we're going to do that, we got to make the running back completely responsible for the mesh. So I tell the quarterback and the back, if there's any kind of fumble on the mesh, it's the back's fault. I don't care what the quarterback does. The back is responsible for the mesh. Okay, so that's the basic inside zone read. I've got a copy here of the Bills running it. And this will show you both a wide and a butt view. So anyways, here we go. So the Bills are in a trips formation of the boundary with the nub tight end, meaning the tight end's by himself. There's no receiver. Okay, and I'm pretty sure they're going to run inside zone to the left here. There you go. So we get inside zone to the left. Okay, notice the combos, the double teams, right? And this is actually the back comes across, but he cuts this one back. Some people have them read the defensive line and kind of cut where they're not. I don't think you have to teach them all that. If you can fog up a mirror, you probably know you don't want to run the ball into that guy. So you go watch this double team right here and combo up to the backer here. So we should get a double here to him, a double here to him. Okay, your tight end is going to get out the way. This guy here is your read key. Y'all see my ad down there for shoes. My wife's curly been on my tablet. Oh, pause it. Here we go. All right, we know. See how they stay square, and his eyes are on this linebacker the whole time. He's helping here, and he kind of runs himself out of the play. 79 does a good job, gets off on his backer here, and we got a huge cutback lane. Get about 7 yards here. Good double here, even though they kind of wind up missing on the backer, it doesn't matter. 7 yards, easy. Free freaking money. Okay, so it's a really simple play, and it's really easy to teach. So I'll show you guys some base ways Clemson runs it, but then I'll kind of talk you through how defenses have adjusted to inside zone and what our answers are to those adjustments. So let's see. Now, you guys will have to forgive me. I'm not very tech savvy. I'm pretty sure I said that yesterday. So I do have some old all-22 film of Clemson, but it's all 2017 and before. Clemson's kind of notorious for being crabby with their all-22 film. I've only got one friend who I've ever known to get a lot of access to that, and he's not sharing too much. So I'm having to use YouTube some. I'm using the old film for parts, but YouTube for the other. Okay, so the first one is for 2 weeks ago. This is the Boston College game, and that would have been – here we go. Kind of talk you through it. So first thing we got to be aware of on this one is the situation. Okay, so it's 4th and 1. BC is expecting some kind of inside run. You know, we run other things in inside zone, but we run a lot of inside zone. So they're going to pinch to try to squeeze it down. And we're just kind of going to have this H back kind of just wash it. And we're going to read this walk-up linebacker right here. He crashes down. DJU pulls it. I'm not trying to pronounce that last name. Not here. Easy touchdown, though. For the record, the offensive line has no idea what the quarterback and back are doing. They don't care. They just know they crush these guys. That's it. They don't give a rip. Okay, that's the base way. I wanted to show you guys a pull on our base stuff, and I'll show you Notre Dame here. And I think I talked a little bit on the forum about the Notre Dame game and what I think went wrong. For one, Notre Dame's pretty good up front. 2, our offensive line played atrociously. They were awful. But 3, Notre Dame was also bound and determined that Clemson was not going to run the ball. And they were willing to take that risk and bring safeties down and be aggressive and bring more guys in there that we could block. And that gave us opportunity to throw the ball over the top a lot, which we did, but we just couldn't get our running game going for a combination of reasons. So let's see, 22-38. All right, so here's an example. Just a bunch of stuff goes wrong here. For one, we do a terrible job on our combo. We don't pick up backer. Two, I think we have some kind of signaling issue, or I think our right tackle gets the play call wrong. Okay, I'll show you why in a minute. So let's do that, actually. I'll show you now. All right, first, we clearly got inside zone here, okay, but we blocked the read key. Okay. Now, that does happen at times. Okay. Maybe if they only have 5 guys in the box, or we have some kind of RPO on. But looking at what we got going on here, it looks like we're stop blocking here. We're stop blocking here. I don't see any kind of RPO. So I'm not really sure why we would be blocking this guy, and not work a double here to here. Okay. So that might be our problem. The other issue is we don't do a very good job with our double getting off to a linebacker. We miss. Okay. Now, this might not be his fault. It might be that our right tackle here is responsible for doubling and taking this backer. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's a mess. Somebody messed up here. But regardless, we get our double, and he kind of gets his head turned. I think he gets his shoulders turned. It's hard to tell, but he completely whiffs on his backer. He should be coming off on, and he's in there. We probably move the stakes there. I'm not saying we get a big play, but we get 2 or 3 if we can at least get that guy blocked and let Travis get ahead of steam through there. Let's see. All right, that's 2 basic ones. I'll probably come back to the Notre Dame game later. So let's get back to the base play. So what I love so much about football is this game, it evolves and it changes and evolves. So when offenses come up with something that defenses can't stop, it takes them a while. I don't think those defensive guys are nearly as smart as we are. But regardless, they always, after a couple of years of getting roasted, they figure something out. Okay? Inside zone's no different. So one of the first things they started doing to stop this play is a tactic they called squeeze scrape. Okay. So once they figured out that we were reading this in, they decided, well, hey, why don't we dictate the decision that the quarterback has to make? So this end, when he sees inside zone, he's going to squeeze it automatically. Okay. He's not trying to slow play, nothing. He's going now. He's down. He's squishing it, so the back's got nowhere to go. All right. This theoretically should force the quarterback to pull the ball. Well, the second he does, they are scraping this linebacker around the edge here to play the quarterback. So the quarterback makes the correct read. He gets a pull, but once he pulls it, he's running straight into this Mike backer or Will backer or whoever it is. All right. That's one way to stop it, which creates a problem that we have to solve as an offense. All right. Another thing they could do is they could leave the mic in the box and get an extra hat, but they can bring a safety down and let him play the quarterback. Now, they could try to stalk him with a Y, but receivers don't like to block. They're not terribly good at it, particularly on safety. Safeties are usually a lot better run players than corners are. So, squeezing that. So that creates another problem. Okay. So whenever they come up with an answer, we have to respond with the answer in kind. All right. And I think I started seeing this stuff going with the sniffer with mostly, I think of Urban Meyer and Tom Herman, at Florida, and then later Ohio State kind of getting really big on this. And Gus Malzahn did this a lot. So, that was kind of all the craze when I first started coaching was using an H-back. We also call him a sniffer. Okay, if you think about it, he's standing right behind the butts of the offensive line. I can imagine there are more pleasant aromas out there, but sniffer, H-back, whatever you want to call them, it doesn't matter. Okay, so if they're going to squeeze scrape, okay, if we have a sniffer in the game, we now actually have 2 answers, not just one. Okay. The first one, Clemson does quite often. Oops, not bad. Daggone it. Huddle can be a pain to use. Y'all can see why I'm not a huge Huddle fan. Well, the first option, okay, is we can make what we call a load call, okay, where we have the H-back simply purposely miss the defensive end and wind up blocking the scraper wherever he can get him. Okay, preferably rather get him here, but even if we get him here, we got a chance. Okay, but if we can seal his butt in here, they give us a pull. Now all of a sudden the quarterback is pulling this ball, and this guy that they thought was going to scrape and make the play is now blocked. Okay, that's one way to do it. We call that a load play. I'll show you guys some loads here in a minute. The other way we could do it, if they're going to squeeze scrape, is what we call a seal. Okay, so now we're just going to have the H kick out the defensive end. That's it. So if that happens, okay, now we're really doing this for the back. Okay, because if we get our scraper here, he scrapes around thinking, okay, the end's going to force the pull, but now there's no read at all because we're kicking in. The quarterback's just going to give the ball unless there's an RPO on it. So now he's getting kicked out. He's ran himself out of position. The back should have a huge cutback lane. That's two very simple solutions, and we can do all kind of window dressing with this. It doesn't matter where we line the H up. We can move him here. We can put him here behind him. It don't matter. We can motion him, that yo-yo motion they like to do. There's all kinds of crap you can do with him. Okay, so that's one solution here. So I'm going to show you all some clips. I got a lot of stuff here. The first one I'm going to show you is from the 2017 Louisville game with Kelly Bryant at quarterback. I just picked this one because I have all 22 view of it. So let's see here. 53 seconds in. Like, I didn't have to look far to. We run this play so much, I really didn't have to dig to find a bunch. But y'all can't fault me for not watching hours of film to pull out inside zone. All right, here we go. So this is a load call. Notice Louisville's in an odd front. So we're playing with three defensive linemen, four backers, call this a 3-4 front. They're in a front I call double eagle. Some people call it bear. To me, an odd front's a double eagle. Okay, so we're going to lead here. Now, because it's an odd front, we're going to read the end man in the line of scrimmage. So this walled-up linebacker is going to be the read key. All right, and now just because we got the load call on, it doesn't mean the quarterback has to pull it. Okay, so what defensive ends are starting to do now when they see inside zone, rather than chasing it or doing anything whatsoever, they just kind of stand there. They don't really give you a definite read. So when that happens, usually you just give the ball. But point is, you can see your H leading up here. All right. Let's see. 2:45. Got a seal call. Same game. Not even a minute later, same drive, get a seal call here. All right, now I got a couple of different seal calls. This one is one where he's actually going to throw a pre-snap RPO, but ignore the RPO for right now. Let's just look at the blocking here. So they're running inside zone on the right. They have the H-back sniffer, whatever you want, kick out the end. And Kelly decides he doesn't like the run, so he throws the RPO. Now, for Kelly, seeing as I got the clip up and I don't feel like digging it up again, for Kelly, this is just a simple math game. So we got a bubble screen tagged here with our receivers. So essentially, we're double calling this play. Kelly's just going to look and decide if he's going to stick with inside zone or if he's going to throw the ball out here pre-snap. He don't have to tell anybody. The OL don't care. And this ball will be thrown behind the line of scrimmage. It doesn't matter if they get downfield. Doesn't matter at all. The back, he might tell the back. He might not. Usually, you don't have to. So anyway, if we do our math here, okay, the quarterback can't be a blocker here because we're kicking in. There's nobody for him to read. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the box to our 5, 6 blockers. So numbers wise, I don't like the math. Okay. Now we've got 3 over 3 here. but the safety is back and he's kind of playing inside leverage. If you use the hash as a reference, he's kind of on the hash inside, whereas our number 3 here is outside of the hash. So we have both numbers and leverage here. So Kelly says, you know what? I'm going to take the screen. And he just chucks this thing out. Okay. Now we should have a pretty good play here, but like I said, sometimes you make a great play call, and this is, I think of football like chess. Okay. The only difference, football's harder than chess because in chess the pieces don't screw up. Right. So they're gonna kind of double team this overhang here. Okay, but I can't remember who number 8 was, but he doesn't do a particular. Oh, it's Justin Ross. No, it's not Justin Ross. Is it Justin? It might be. I don't know. Crap, I'm getting old. Okay, so he's going to do a pretty terrible job here and not get a great double. And then when he's supposed to come off, he doesn't block the corner very well. And it's essentially like zone blocking for these guys, double and get off, and he whiffs. But if he gets him, it's a touchdown. Great call. Great decision by Kelly. Terrible job by our wideout who doesn't really want to block because he's a diva. Justin Ross is a great kid. His receivers hate blocking in general. Y'all know how it is. I used to coach receivers. I call them all divas. All right. So that gives you load and that gives you seal. All right. Just one more way I'll show you here from the 2019 Ohio State game is kind of how you can dress it up. Okay, and really get the same play. Let's see. Oh, look at Big Dave. No, don't need that anymore. Where'd I put it? Here we go. All right. So in this case, same rules for the OL, same sort of deal. But this is another interesting way that you can take the same blocking concept and almost come up with a completely different play for the defense. Here we go. So they're basically going to turn this into speed option. OL's blocking the exact same play. This is the inside zone on the left. We're not blocking the end. Everything is exactly the same. Now all Trevor's going to do, though, is he's going to get outside here, and we're going to pitch off this end and try to get the ball wide. Now, notice Ohio State's in man. And I think I broke this game down, or at least part of it anyway, a while ago. They played a lot of man. So in this case, I believe it's Justin Ross again. He don't have to do anything but run him off. He's so locked in that he's just going to follow him downfield. And he has no idea that Travis Etienne has the ball. The same thing happens here. The only person who can see it's the safety, and he makes a pretty good play, but it's still a nice gain. When we told our big guys nothing new, and we got something that looks completely different in the defense for an 8-yard gain. All right. So that's just a way you can dress it up and run speed option off of it. All right. So now let's get into the RPO stuff. The RPO stuff answers a different problem that people have. And so I kind of gave you the squeeze scrape scenario, but what about putting extra guys out here in space? Okay. RPOs can really handle the space dilemma that defensive coordinators want to give you. And basically, our job is to find space. Their job is to take it away, if you think of football in that regard. Now, RPOs are kind of unfair, particularly post-snap RPOs, okay? Every defensive player on the field, minus really corners, has both a run and pass responsibility, okay? So, these defensive tackles got to take away their run gap first, and they notice pass, and they got to pass rush a particular lane, right? Linebackers, particularly in zone coverage, they have a run gap they're responsible for. They can't let anything through that gap. They see run, they got to fill that gap now. But if they see pass, they got to drop to their zone, and they're responsible for any pass there. They can't do both at the same time. Same thing for your strong safety, who might be your force guy. Okay. Same thing for your free safety. You might have to run the alley here. So, if you mesh with the back and you basically make these guys pick which job they want to do, that ain't fair. That's tough. Okay. And then on top of that, the rules are really lax with linemen getting downfield. You know, a lot of times I see them 3-4 yards down the field and they don't get called for being downfield. You know, these linemen they don't know it's an RPO. They don't care. They just hear, you know, inside zone, right? They're okay. Go crush. That's what they do. They're linemen. They don't think about things. You know, those guys, they fart all the time and you know, they pick their boogers and all that stuff. Man, I got my offensive lineman these like $2 goat teeth at Walmart one time. I think it was a Michael's or something as a reward for getting pancake blocks. Man, those kids lost their crap over a goat tooth. I told him it was like a bear tooth or something. They don't know any different, right? So they don't think about that stuff. Okay, so the TV people take me off because they talk about RPOs all the time, and they have most of the time no clue what they're talking about. Most of those guys played quarterback in the 80s, you know, back when everybody just ran the toss and all that stuff, and it was cool to run the wing tee and stuff like that. They don't know what they're talking about. They oftentimes get play action and RPOs confused. So a play action pass is when there is no intent to possibly run the ball. Okay, we're selling run to get somebody to bite down in it and throw over the top. Okay, and play action is still great. RPOs are more difficult to execute, but they also, in my opinion, have a higher chance of success, where we literally could hand the ball off or run it. All right, there are 2 different types of RPOs. Okay, there's your pre-snap RPOs and your post-snap RPOs. Okay, your pre-snap RPOs are really pretty fair. Okay, so I'll give you an example. There's really 2 of them. Okay, the first one is what we call a now screen or a key screen. Okay. All right. So just like Kelly did with that throw in the Louisville game I was showing you earlier, basically he's just taking a look at the picture that he's seeing before the ball is ever snapped. So he knows before he snaps the ball if he's going to throw the screen or he's going to stick with the run play, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to even be inside zone. Okay, so he knows pre-snap. All right, so let's say we get something like this, right? We got 2 high safeties, that sort of thing. Well, he sees we've got leverage and we got space out here. We've got 2 over 1, and this guy's inside the hash, and he's way back. He can't make the play, and if he does, it's going to be downfield. So we just have our X on this key screen or now screen or whatever you want to call it. He's going to take 1 hard step forward, 1 hard step back, 1 step to the quarterback, catch the ball, and then he's going to get outside. Because remember, if he goes in here, these guys are going to come off unblocked, and they're going to clean his clock. And you know, he's going to wind up having that CTE stuff and all that, and he's not going to remember his name by the time he's 40. All right, if he stays outside, he should be okay. The other one is a bubble screen. Let's see, flip these. All right, so on bubble screen, I'm going to have to flip these guys. I'm going to pull my Y off here, put my X on. Y is simply going to run a bubble. And this is my labeling. Clemson uses a number system. I don't know what it is. I don't see any reason for me to learn their numbering system. Okay. And same sort of deal. It's just a different way to get the ball in the same space. Sometimes maybe your Y is your better ball carrier. You'd rather throw a bubble. Maybe your X is a better blocker. I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons for running it each way. Okay. So that's a total pre-snap RPO. Quarterback is going to decide, bam, snap it. I'm throwing that now, or I'm just going to run my zone read, whatever. Okay, so if he catches it and throws it right now, it doesn't matter if this guy's unblocked. He's not getting there. Okay, the quarterback doesn't have time to fiddle fart around back here, though. That's for sure. All right, we can also use a pre-snap RPO to turn this into triple option. Okay, so if we want to go triple, we can have the receivers run the exact same screen. Okay, let me draw this. So let's say we got something like this here. I'm going to put him back out. All right, so now if we look at this pre-snap, we probably don't want to throw this, okay? And we got to find some way to kind of get this guy off and this guy. I remember Chad Morris did this a lot, but occasionally we still do it, okay? So now we're going to turn this into if you think of Georgia Tech with Paul Johnson, it's the same sort of stuff where they'd read it in and then pitch it. Well, now we're just running inside zone. If the end crashes down, now the quarterback's just going to pull it, and he's going to run right at this cat here. And we're going to make this guy make up his mind. He's either going to play the quarterback, which if he does, quarterback will just throw the bubble to Y right now as the pitch guy, or he can chase down the pitch. And in that case, quarterback's got grass. Okay, very simple way to do that. I'm going to show y'all, I'll show y'all 2 pre-snap RPOs. Then I'll show you one example of the triple option. Let's see. Three minutes in. Hey, there were times in this Ohio State game last year, we ran inside zone like 4 or 5 times in a row. It seems like I didn't have to watch very far to find all the examples I needed. Let's put it that way. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to go. This is not from the 2019 Ohio State game. It's from the 2013 Ohio State game. Hey, by the way, we absolutely slaughtered Ohio State that year with pre-snap RPOs. Killed them. And so we got Sammy Watkins here, which we all know how good he was. Ohio State was terrified, and we had all these NFL receivers everywhere, great tight end. They did not want us to beat them over the top. So they were willing to give up some of these key screens and bubble screens out here, so long as, we wouldn't hammer them. But at the end of the day, they probably should have gambled a little more, because Sammy Watkins, I think he had like 230 yards, and a bunch of it was this easy crap right here. So we got inside zone. Okay. Now we motion H back out here, and we run the key screen. I mean, how easy is that? And we did that crap over and over. And the motion here just to dress it up and give it a different look. Holy mackerel. It's a really good way to get the ball in the hands of one of your best players and just let him go be an athlete. These cats have no idea. They don't care. They're just doing their job. That's one example. All right, I got one from the Louisville game from a couple years ago. I wish I could use more Trevor Lawrence film, but like I said, I just don't have the all 22 views. All right. So Louisville does something pretty sharp here. Okay. They're trying to muddy this picture up as much as possible, right? They're trying to do everything they can to possibly confuse the quarterback. So where I have it paused right now, if you looked at this, we've got 3/1. This is good. This screen looks great. But watch Louisville last minute here. See how they shift out? And now they got 3/3. We've got no leverage. This screen is dead. They got one more guy and we can block. And Kelly does a good job of saying, you know what? I'm just going to stick with a run. And we get 5 yards. If he throws the screen, we get a negative play there. Okay, so just because we got the screen tagged doesn't mean we have to actually throw it. And that's a pretty good job by the OL as well. Inside zone isn't really something that, you give it and you're going to bust it for 100. It's something that, you get 4 or 5 yards, you're pretty happy with it. Occasionally you're going to bust a long one, but you're less likely to do so than some of your gap runs. All right, the last one I'm going to show you is from the Ohio State game last year, and this one is going to turn into triple option. And Ohio State plays it pretty well. Again, we have a really well schemed play, called at the right time, and of course, somebody busts it. One of your chess pieces screws up. I'm working at school right now doing this, and Uncle Sam's paying me, so I'm not going to say the F word. That'd probably be pretty rude. All right, here we go. So we're going to read the end. He pitches out. So now Trevor probably could give this ball because he might be squeezing a little bit, but he's pretty square. So he should be able to change directions really well. It could go either way. I don't have a problem with him pulling it here. So he reads this guy. So once he gets the pull read, watch this cat here. Trevor's going to attack him. And I believe our receiver blocks the wrong cat. If he goes and gets the corner and just lets Trevor pitch off of him, we should be in really good shape. And in fact, it looks to me like now he's getting run down here. By the guy he read in the first place. So maybe that should have been a give. But Ohio State was really good up front. That's just an example. I'm sure I could find more that worked out better. But, you know, Tony Elliott takes some heat as a play caller, and he's a pretty good play caller most of the time. All right, so that's triple. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you guys is a post-snap RPO. And I've got one example. We do this all the time, though. I just didn't feel like digging to find the perfect clip. So if you want me to go in more detail on RPOs and stuff later, I can do that. Go away. Here we go. All right, now, so post-snap RPO, the quarterback is not deciding until after the ball is snapped if he's going to throw it or not. And so we've got an endless number of patterns we can use. My personal favorite and one that Clemson runs a lot is the glance concept. Okay, and they might use some kind of H back here to run a shoot or something like that, or out. And like I said, the combinations are endless. And glance is a great one. And a lot of times they'll have one concept on this side and another one. So we'll just put normal fade out here. And so maybe pre-snap, the quarterback might look and say, okay, which side do I want to read? Okay, so, you know, let's just say for argument's sake, he says, okay, based on how the defense is lined up, I think I like the right side better with my glance and my shoot. Okay, now the other thing we really got to do is we can't read the end anymore. Okay, so we could put the H, we could take him out of route and make a kick call or a seal call, whatever you want to call that, or we can make a base call and have our tackle base up this defensive end. Okay, so we are no longer reading the defensive end. We can't do that. We can't ask the quarterback to read both linebackers and the defensive end. Okay, so we got to change our blocking just a tad there. All right, so all the quarterback's going to do at the snap, he's going to mesh up, and he's going to see if these linebackers get in their run gap or if they drop their pass base. Usually, I mean, it could go either way. But let's say they kind of come down in here. It should open up a nice big window to throw this glance, particularly if he chases out like he's probably going to. They always chase that crap. All right. And he could also take the shot here if he liked that better pre-snap. The long touchdown that got called back on the penalty in the Pitt game on Saturday, I'm pretty sure, and don't quote me, I haven't seen the film yet, but I'm pretty sure it was some kind of fade RPO, maybe off the inside zone. Anyway, we hit this glance all the time. They loved calling it in the red zone. Deshaun Watson used to hit Mike Williams on this all the time. We would do it. We'd block power, inside zone, all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to show you inside zone. This is the Ohio State game. Let's see. In fact, this is just a couple of minutes before the triple. And Kirk Herbstreit's nice enough to give us a butt view on this too. So watch these cats here. It's not even fair. And by the way, the linemen don't know. They don't know if he's giving it or throwing it. They don't care. They're just blocking their assignment. Nice big window. Drop that thing in. In this case, they make a seal call with the H back. So there's your sniffer. Instead of having him come off and block the read key, he's just going to stay on his regular inside zone, and we're just going to kick him out with the H. This is a great way to keep really good defensive ends off balance too. You know, because one play you're reading them, you know, then the next play he's getting ear holed by a fullback, and then all of a sudden it looks like he's going to get ear holed, and you got load on. So of course they did actually a squeeze scrape here. So he squeezed, he scraped around, and we wound up kicking out the scraper. And we just threw the glance route right behind it. Okay, so that's an RPO. That's a post-snap RPO. That's what people are talking about mostly when you hear RPO. Here's a load call. It's like 3 plays in a row inside zone. They motion him in. They load him up. And we probably should have gave it, but hey. Trevor was wanting to be a dude. I can see why he pulled that. We don't really get a great load here. All right, guys, so that's inside zone in many different ways that we run it at Clemson. I hope you guys learned something from that. Hopefully you found it interesting. Y'all didn't find my country accent too intolerable. Y'all have a good one, and if you have anything else you want me to cover or break down, you guys let me know. All right.